Hello, Jen Tozser, your portfolio manager here, coming back to talk about legacy again, and this time to hopefully give you some tips on how to help it endure for your family. So, I bet you have likely heard that most families go from shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. And I would say that's probably true. And here's my opinion on that. So you have your first generation, who I like to call the wealth creators. They're the people that have some advantage in their life and make some decisions and create this pool of wealth. And that's great. And then it passes on to the second generation. And I like to call those people the stewards of wealth. And then finally, you have the third generation, who are the spenders. So how do you change it from having your third generation be a spender and having your second generation, instead of just being a steward of wealth, actually grow the base that you've set for them? Well, the first thing I would tell you is you have to impart values. You have to explain what your values are. And your children and your grandchildren potentially need to be part of the conversation. If you don't include them, how are they going to know what to do? It's not natural to understand how to manage a pool of money. So let's talk about the mistakes the first generation makes and maybe why. I've heard a lot of people say to me, well, if I could do it, my kids can do it. Every generation has different opportunities and different obstacles. And because you've already completed your success financially, you have different things you can teach your children, and your children have different advantages. What do I see in the second generation? If the parents didn't make them part of the conversation and help them understand how they got there, they're nervous about making a mistake. And what they really tend to focus on is preservation of capital, to be safe, and maybe distribute the income because they're used to a certain lifestyle, and if need be, encroach from time to time on that capital. But what do they not do? They don't check and make sure their investment advice is up to date. They don't check and make sure there's no difference in tax regimes. They don't necessarily check and see if something's fundamentally changed, because they feel their obligation is preserving capital. And by the time you get down to the third generation, if they didn't learn from their parents and they didn't learn from their grandparents, all they see is a lifestyle that they're used to. So they'll tend to do the same actions. So they'll be used to a portfolio that maybe pays out a certain lifestyle. But if you haven't kept ahead of it with inflation and taxation, you're now at the part where the portfolio eventually dwindles. So what do? Make sure you surround yourself with good advisors. It's something we do. We like to help people not just create wealth, but create wealth for their legacy. If you have any questions, please give us a call.